97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Bagel University in Vineland for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him! It's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hinnett.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hinnett.
Josh Hinnett here on 97.3 ESPN Hump Day Wednesday, which also means it is a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. We got some Eagles information to talk about as they're preparing for Atlanta this Monday night, not Sunday. Remember, the Eagles don't play a Sunday game until weeks 3 and 4 of the NFL season, but there is some news to get to with them preparing for that. Plus, I'll get you some thoughts on the Phillies win last night. Lineup change today for the Phillies, kind of out of necessity. All that and more to come here on 97.3 ESPN. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Plus your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. It's a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes. We're now talking about the Phillies and the Eagles. But let me get you the Phillies information first, because we did have a lineup change today, and it's not that I'm necessarily surprised, but it's obvious the Phillies are being cautious. So Kyle Schwarber was slated to start today, but they have decided to remove him from the lineup to give him an extra day of rest. So instead, your lineup tonight, Bryson Stott followed by Trey Turner. Bryce Harper will be your DH. Nick Castellanos followed by Brandon Marsh. Weston Wilson at third base. Ugh. Cody Clemens at first. Rojas in center. Garcia catching for Zach Wheeler. And while we all can... if there's a prop bet for Weston Wilson to commit an error, I always say to make that bet when he plays third base. I feel like every time he plays third base, he makes an error. But I think the Schwarber situation, I don't think this is like Alec Bohm. Okay, I want to be very clear about this with everybody. This is not an Alec Bohm situation where Bohm looked like he was in serious pain when he came out of that game a couple weeks ago. And the fact it took them that many days to put him on the injured list was very bizarre. Schwarber feels different. Schwarber feels like he could have played today, but they're being extra cautious because they have extra day off tomorrow. So now Schwarber gets 2 consecutive days off to heal up from whatever happened to his elbow last night when he slid back into the base. And also taking Harper out of the field for a day is probably a good thing, giving him a little bit less wear and tear on his body from being on the field. So I don't think this is going to be a negative for the Phillies. They've already won the series. You know, the goal is to win series at this point. It's not to win every single game. And if you look at what the Phillies have been doing recently, they had the best record in baseball right now at 87-58. And the last time the Phillies did not win a series was in Atlanta. That means that the Phillies have now won 6 straight series since losing 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. I think it's very significant because this shows that this team has finally found their stride again. They're finally finding their way back from whatever went wrong with them. To this day, I am still perplexed why baseball teams go into slumps that they do. But as we've documented here on 97.3 ESPN, the 2008 Phillies did it, the 2009 Phillies did it, the 2022 Phillies did it, the 93 Phillies went through a huge slump at one point. It's part of the baseball season. It's part of playing 162 games. You're not going to be at your best every single day. So I kind of take it as just part of baseball. I try not to read too much into it. But I do think that the Schwarber situation is more precautionary than anything else. I don't think this is Schwarber, gotta be concerned. And by the way, the guy set Major League Baseball history last night. He is now the single season leader in leadoff home runs. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that he would get that number. Not because I don't think he could have gotten the number literally. I just feel like that's a number that is so hard to accomplish. Being the first guy at the plate to lead off a game with a home run. Because the fact that Ricky Henderson doesn't own the record tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion. The man who owned the record for 20 years was Alfonso Soriano when the Yankees went to the World Series in 2003. So, as far as I'm concerned, I look at it as, hey, big moment for Schwarber. He keeps making history. Glad to see it. But this is a rough Phillies lineup tonight. And if they don't win the game tonight, it'll be disappointing, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. Text board is open. 609-403-0973. Also, your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Let's get to the Eagles, because the Eagles are obviously getting ready to play the Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. You can hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick on the call. Pre-game coverage at 7 p.m. on Monday night, and then Merrill and Mike call the action at 8. It's very clear that this Eagles team has very different type of people in charge than last year. Remember the concept that, when guys like Brett Brown would say, the adult in the room, you call Jimmy Butler, or he called him James Butler, the adult in the room. I think the Eagles finally have adults in the room, because when you listen to Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore speak this year, it's a completely different vibe than last year. And I thought that his answer about Nakobe Dean was very, very poignant when he was asked about basically he said it early in the presser that, Nakobe Dean's the starter. Devin White's not taking his job. And the follow-up question was,
so what went into the decision, Vic, to have Nakobe as the starter? What did you see?
I just think from the start of camp to the end, he won the job.
Very simple answer from Vic Fangio. And frankly, I'm going to trust Vic Fangio's discernment about linebackers than I am about 90% of the human population. This is a man who started Mike Peterson with the Colts, and he had 2 incredible seasons as a tackling machine. This is a man who got the most out of Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, and Ahmad Brooks with the 49ers. This is a man who had incredible linebacker play from Roquan Smith to Daniel Trevathan with the Bears. This is a guy who turned Andrew Van Ginkel into a high-priced, valued pass-rushing linebacker. If anybody knows linebackers, it's him. And the fact that he said this about Zach Bond today and about him in New Orleans to what he did today, I think clears up the air about everything.
The way they adjusted their defense in New Orleans, on occasion, he would end up as an inside linebacker, not very often. And from those few plays, I thought he could do it. Was I going to bet my life savings on it? No, but I had a good feeling that he could do it. And he can. And he's got the versatility from his experience of being an on-the-line guy, to use that with him also. And I think he'll just keep getting better and better.
I think it's very clear that this defense is extremely different than what we saw last year. Last year, the linebacker play was underwhelming. It was pieced together by an organization that I don't think the Eagles planned properly for the loss of TJ Edwards. I think they put too many eggs into the Nakobe Dean basket last year. Now you bring in a defensive coordinator who had a legitimate linebacker competition between a first-round draft pick in Devin White, a jack-of-all-trades in Zach Bond, a third-round draft pick who was a premier linebacker in college, Nakobe Dean, along with a versatile weapon in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Those were the main 4 linebackers who got reps in training camp and in preseason games. And Vic Fangio is already telling you with his actions and his words that he is going to make sure that this team has the best players available on the field. And I got to admit, I'm impressed that Vic Fangio said, yeah, I saw Zach Bond play a few games inside linebacker, and I'm sure that guy could play on my defense. I'm impressed with the idea that he is saying, look, I'm comfortable with Nakobe Dean being the starting linebacker, and you should too. The matter-of-fact way he speaks his mind and presents information, I think, is a huge testament to why the Eagles hired this guy. The Eagles hired this guy because he is a man who is no nonsense. He's all ball. All he cares about is being the guy to help the Eagles be better than they were last year. Josh Henning hanging out here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here in 97.3 ESPN. Go to the Fanatics Sportsbook Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go to the Win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. It is a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg is going to be coming up on the other side. Talk more about the Eagles and the Phillies right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Tom McCarthy here from Thursday Night Football at Westwood One. Join Ross Tucker and me for Week 2 NFL action between 2 of last year's playoff teams when Josh Allen and the new-look offense Bills travel south to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the high-flying Dolphins. Both are coming off impressive wins in Week 1 and hope to grab the early AFC East division lead. It's Buffalo at Miami on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to the Fanatics Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Phillies offense explodes, but is there still a concern with one of their starters? I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. The Phillies ultimately got the win last night, but starter Ranger Suarez gave up 12 hits and 4 earned runs, getting a no decision in the game. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, are you worried about Ranger Suarez heading into the postseason? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. I'm a little concerned with Ranger. His velocity has been down. He's been giving up a lot of hard contact. Gave up 12 hits last night. Now, he's only been a couple starts back from the injury at this point, but he's been a little banged up and really hasn't looked like how he was in the beginning of the season. So there's a little bit of concern. We'll see what he looks like next time out. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-518-1409.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-518-1409. That's 800-518-1409.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow will be similar to today in terms of temperatures, slightly higher humidity and a few more clouds, still completely dry. You'll spot some clouds tonight, maybe some patchy fog around. Low temperature dips to 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, slightly stickier, high 77. Sunny clouds on Friday, high of 78. We're back in the summer-like 80s throughout the weekend. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Better days. Healthier living. There are many reasons to start recovery. If you know someone who is suffering from addiction, we are always here to help. Make the call at 844-REACH-NJ.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the 97.3 ESPN Ocean Casino Resort studios. But right now, joining me, as he seemingly does every Wednesday, live from Gusto Brewing in North Cape May, it's Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday. Welcome back in. How you doing on this?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of trivia, but I always take that time out for you.
I appreciate the timeout. By the way, rumor has it that because you're there, your team dominates the sports trivia rounds.
Sometimes. I mean, there's a couple of people that are also pretty heavily into sports and stuff. But yeah, the first round category tonight was September movies, and there were a couple sports movies in there that I knew. Like, for instance, do you know the name of the high school and Remember the Titans?
Oh my goodness. Was it George Washington High School?
No, not even close.
What was it? What was it?
TC Williams.
Oh, TC Williams.
And the only reason I know that is they were the big rowing school too, so they would always go against Holy Spirit in Atlantic City.
Really?
And those regattas like on the Cooper River and the Schuylkill and stuff. That's the only reason I knew what it was.
I never knew they were a big rowing school, but as someone who covered high school sports for as long as you did, Dave, I'm sure you remember a lot of random schools. Speaking of random, I wanted to ask you, start with this because Dave, you did cover the Eagles for many years. And, one of the comments I made before you came on was about the fact that, when you listen to Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore talk compared to the guys who were here last year, it almost feels like there's actual adults coaching now compared to last year because how matter-of-fact Fangio is about, like, they ask him, like, why did you start Nakobe Dean? He's like, well, because he outperformed everybody else in camp. When they ask Kellen Moore about motion, he says, well, yeah, motion makes it easier for the quarterback. Like, these guys, they're much more no nonsense than what we had here in Philadelphia last year.
Yeah, that's true. Although, I mean, I know the results weren't much different, were they? I mean, he talks about motion up in the quarterback, and Jalen Hurts said 2 interceptions and the fumble wasn't his fault, but 3 turnovers isn't good.
Here's the thing, Dave, because both of his interceptions were when there was no motion. His 2 touchdowns when there was motion. So there's a definitive difference between one versus the other.
So they got to do motion more often then, huh? Oh, they did it a lot anyway, but I guess they got to even do even more. I don't know.
67%. It was according to NFL Next Gen stats, it was the most motion the Eagles have run since Doug Peterson was the head coach.
Who keeps track of that stuff? My gosh.
Not
okay.
Not you and me.
And then in terms of the defense, I mean, you gave up 29 points, right? So I don't know if there's too much to be thrilled about. I mean, no pass rush to speak of, except for Vaughn, the linebacker, had both of the sacks, right?
Right.
I thought Kenyon Mitchell played very well. Darius Slay, I guess, okay.
Slay was okay.
Vaughn, obviously, but there was no outside pressure from Huff or anybody else, and that's going to be a real problem going forward, I think, unless they can correct that.
It's interesting because, there's 2 sides of it. There's the idea that, hey, it could have been worse if the defense didn't do what they did when the Eagles turned the ball over. But then there's the other side, like you said, where it's like, hey, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, they couldn't get their footing. They had no impact on the game, And it's like even Fangio brought up, it's like, yeah, the field wasn't good, but we got to be better. Like even Fangio was like, whatever, we're moving on kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to sound so negative, but I mean, stop blaming the field. I know it was terrible, but it was terrible for the Packers too, right? So you just deal with it and try to make the best of it. It'll probably help the offense because the Packers defense seemed to be struggling a little bit. So, I don't know the field. And then everybody's going back to the Super Bowl in Arizona, and they couldn't get their footing there either. And change your cleats then.
See, that's the part that I don't. I'm with you on that point. You've already been through this once. You've already been through the weird field thing once. And I was listening to Travis Kelce talk about how, like, he knows from personal experience playing international that a lot of these stadiums are soccer stadiums, they're not football stadiums. And he said there's a major difference in running on those different surfaces. And so it's like, at what point do the players and the training equipment staff and everything, do they have to get together and be like, hey, maybe we need to do something different? Like even Chris Long said on his podcast that he would wear a special spike on his cleat on certain fields.
Don't you notice it before the game? I mean, like on first and second quarter, you're slipping around. Haven't you prepared for this? I mean,
poor Saquon slipped on his first carry of the game.
Right, lost like 5 yards. I mean, wouldn't you have like examined the field conditions before the game or the day before too? I mean, I'm not going to give him a pass on that. I just think that's
I will say the NFL is to blame for this too. because the NFL told the Eagles and the Packers that the grass on the field is going to be the same grass that they play on in Green Bay and Philadelphia. Well, that was obviously not true.
True. Yep. Yeah, they bear some responsibility for that, no question. Yep. And refereeing was atrocious too. I mean, not the calls weren't bad, but there's just too many of them. I mean, every 5 seconds there's a whistle and a flag, and some non-calls that kind of affected the outcome too. I don't know. I thought that crew did a terrible job.
It's weird because the night before, I actually thought the crew that did the Ravens-Chiefs game was much better than the crew that did the Eagles-Packers game.
Yeah, agreed.
And it was like, it's like, it was like the only guys who were willing to go to Brazil were these guys. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. That was strange. I just thought they were awful. There was no continuity to the game. Every 5 seconds there was a flag, and I don't know. It really bothered me.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. I mentioned Chris Long, Dave. I wanted to play you what Chris Long said about the game because, and I know in some point it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment from Chris, and you covered Chris. You know that he's a little too honest to a fault sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But,
that's putting him mildly, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that the way he described Jalen Hurts, I thought was the best description I have heard about Jalen because, there's a lot of Eagle fans, Dave, who are frustrated with the Eagles quarterback. Mm-hmm. And there's also part of me that says, did you watch Sunday's games? Like Sunday, there was some horrible quarterback play in the NFL. Yep. And I thought what Chris Long said is the perfect encapsulation about the Eagles quarterback.
And there are things he did well. I'm not going to ignore those things, but I just want to get that out of the way. He stunk it up for a couple sequences. It was almost like he just snaps into it and snaps out of it. Can't have that, right? There was a lot of waiting to see what he looked like in this offense. And I thought he looked pretty good most of the game, 90% of the game. But that 10%, the floor on that 10% is low. You got to improve that floor.
I thought that was the best assessment I've heard from anyone.
Excellent. Yep. He was good. He was very good, but there were a couple sequences there where he was horrid, and you got to have more consistency than that. You got to have more of a steady performance throughout the game. I don't know if it mattered or not, but do you think this has anything to do with not playing in the preseason?
It's weird because, Tua didn't play in the preseason and he threw for over 300 yards on Sunday. Brock Purdy played for 6 drives in the preseason. Patrick Mahomes played in the preseason. I mean, and Stafford never plays in the preseason, so it's like, I don't know. Is it the preseason or is it the coaching? Is it some guys need more preparation than others? It's hard. You know what I mean? How many quarterbacks were in Andy Reid's offense over the years? And you felt like, Andy found a way to get the most out of all of them, right? So it's how much do we blame the preseason? How much do we just blame the coaches? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only reason I would say the preseason might have helped him was because he had a new coordinator with Kellen Moore. I mean, the more opportunities you get to get in sync with him, get a feel for how he likes to call a game, or you have a couple new moving parts in your offense too. I just thought don't play the whole preseason obviously, but maybe like a series or two just to get your feet under you, and so to speak, and get a better feel for the offense. I think that might have helped him a little bit.
It certainly might have helped. But I think that's the other side of the conversation, right, Dave, is that because there was no preseason, how does that impact? Are we looking at a situation where we say we can't judge Jalen until we've had a couple weeks under our belt, not just one game?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Although, I don't know, I would say probably true in this instance, only because, like I said, the new offensive coordinator, some new parts, maybe it isn't fair to judge him right away, but, he's been here for a couple of years now, so you would think he would kind of know what to do. He's worked with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith a couple of years now, so he has a feel for them. Little bit of a change, some 2 new changes up in the offensive line. Maybe that had something to do with the continuity. No Jason Kelsey, calling the pass protections and all that stuff. Maybe that had an impact. I don't know.
2 horrible snaps by Juergens in that game too.
Yep. That definitely. So yeah, I mean, I know Saquon Barkley was marvelous. He was fantastic, but
Yep.
the rest of the offense, and well, AJ Brown was too, and Devontae Smith had a couple of big catches, but I don't know. I wasn't all that impressed. I just and it's tough to say that considering how many points they scored, but I don't know. It just seemed like it lacked consistency, continuity, and I'm hoping that they can correct that going forward. I
I
expect
think
them to.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh and Nick here hanging out with you guys on a Wednesday night. As the world's foremost expert on overthinking, I can tell you that I think Jalen was overthinking. I felt like I could see the steam coming out of his helmet at times. It was like he was thinking way too hard about some of those plays.
Maybe, yeah. He does seem to have a habit of doing that, and it also seems like he likes to play hero ball too. Like he thinks like it's his responsibility to just put that offense on his shoulders, and to agree, he does. But you have a lot of talent around you. Just get them the ball and let them do their thing too.
Dave, one more before I move on to the Phillies. I wanted to ask you, Kurt Warner said on Monday night during the Monday Night Football broadcast here on 97.3, he said that the quarterback play in NFL Week 1 was the worst he has ever seen.
Wow.
In the NFL. And I can't get that out of my head. This is a Hall of Famer, Dave. This is a guy who took 2 franchises to Super Bowls, right? And Kurt Warner. And he's sitting there saying, yeah, this is the worst I've ever seen in Week 1. I mean, how does that change how we look at things? That like maybe just the entire league quarterback play is just not good.
There's a lot of changes at the quarterback position this year. A lot of players with new teams, like Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. You got a bunch of rookies playing now, with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix and a couple other guys. I mean, so I guess you could probably expect the young guys to struggle a little bit. And maybe, from top to bottom, it was pretty bad. But I mean, you do have like you said, you have the Tuas and you have Jalen. You got Dak Prescott had a pretty good game. So maybe the top echelon I think is good, but maybe like the middle of the pack and the bottom or worse. I can see his point there.
I just think a lot of these guys, Dave, they're just not ready. Like I just think so many of these young quarterbacks. Name whoever you want. Caleb Williams played horrible on Sunday.
Right.
Jaden Daniels struggled on the road at Tampa. I mean, Bo Nix, he was just meh all across the board for Denver. And even the guys who have played in the league for a while. It's not like we should be impressed with Will Levis or Deshaun Watson or Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, Watson was horrendous.
I mean, it's not like Justin Fields was anything special for the Steelers on
Right.
Sunday,
Right.
And even Joe Burrow struggled, for goodness sake.
Trevor Lawrence, he kind of got the ball taken out of his hands in the second half. I think he had a pretty good first half. But yeah, I mean, I got to give credit to the Falcons only because they're waiting on Michael Penix. They're not throwing him to the Wolves. And I think that's going to benefit in the long run. I wish that maybe some of those other teams would have done the same thing with their rookies. Not throw them. I guess we need a first overall pick. Like Caleb was, you had no choice but to start him right away. But there was no reason for Bo Nix to be out there.
I just don't understand. Like, we are in a league where Jordan Love sat for multiple years behind Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Even Patrick Mahomes sat for a year behind Alex Smith. Like, you can find more positive examples than negative about sitting these guys for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I know they get the big contracts, so maybe they just want to justify it right away. I don't know what it is, and the fans are buying their jerseys and all that stuff. But yeah, there's something to be said for just learning by watching. Just bringing in a veteran who can take the team like they did with Donovan McNabb, actually with Doug Peterson for a year. They let Donovan sit. They fed him in there in bits and pieces and let him get comfortable with the surroundings, with the environment, and with the fame that comes with being a top pick. And I think maybe too many teams have gotten away from that. They just think they have to throw them right out there, and that's not necessarily the case.
Wasn't it Buddy Ryan who said if you listen to the fans, you're gonna end up sitting with them?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, maybe the answer is don't listen to the fans who are buying the jerseys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
Dave, before I let you go, I did want to ask you about the Phillies because they have now won 6 straight series overall. And you and I have talked about before, you don't need to win every game, but you got to win the majority of the games. And they are now almost 30 games over 500. So are we ready to say the Phillies are back on track, or are we looking at all these injuries and just kind of like giving it the side eye?
No, I think they're doing okay. I mean, I think they are back on track only because of the injuries. Really, I mean, most teams in that situation would have fallen apart and continued to struggle. But their depth is such that they can just plug some guys in there, like the Cody Clemenses and the Buddy Kennedys of the world, I guess, to some degree, and continue the success. And that speaks a lot for the organization, the way that they're able to mix and match and plug guys into that and allow these other guys to heal from their injuries without sacrificing, wins and series losses and stuff. And I think it's going to benefit them in the long run.
What did you think of the Nick Castellanos getting hit and everybody almost getting in a fight last night? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? I can imagine Dave Weinberg rolling his eyes on that.
Right. Big tough guy, Bryce Harper. Right. He starts to charge and then he slows to a crawl. Hold me back, or I'm going to, give me a break. That's just typical baseball fight most of the time. It's got, running in from what are you running in from the bullpen for? All you're doing is getting tired.
You get some exercise. That's what you're getting.
Right. I mean, what do you? I don't stand up. Baseball fights are ridiculous most of the time.
I don't know if you saw Harper's explanation, but after the game, he said he was going to fight Eusebius, but because Eusebius had his back turned to him, he didn't want to hit a guy with his back turned to him.
Baloney. Castellanos didn't seem that bothered by it, but everybody else was. I mean, it was below my waist. It wasn't that big a deal. He didn't throw at my head. I mean,
here's what Castellanos. Here's the Castellanos quote. I'll play it for you. That went viral in the last 24 hours when he said this.
Yeah, I just told him that was bull. I mean, it's you're throwing a baseball over 90 miles an hour and you're frustrated and you're gonna throw at somebody. That's like my 2-year-old throwing a fit because I take away his dessert before he's finished.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah, I guess he's right. I don't know. I just thought it was way overblown. Personally, I don't know. That's just the way I feel.
But how fans, they love that stuff.
Absolutely.
They love that.
They love people charging under the dugout and yelling and screaming and obscenities. Yeah, it's all part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with Dave. I was talking with Mike Gill about this earlier on 97.3. I was like, I think the only guys I can remember who were like pitchers who actually like legitimately like tried to fight anyone was Nolan Ryan, Levon Hernandez, and Hunter Strickland. Like, I can't think of anybody else. You know what I mean?
I remember they made a couple of guys made a mistake of trying to challenge Nolan Ryan, and he kicked their behinds.
Yes.
To put it mildly. Yeah, that they learned their lesson there.
I remember the Levon Hernandez one because he hit somebody and he charged them out. And I remember people were mad at Levon because he was punching with his pitching hand. And he had the guy outstretched with his left hand. He had the guy's jersey like it's like a hockey fight. And he's punching the guy after he charged the mound. And all I can remember is on Sports Center that night, back when they actually had baseball tonight after every game. And they were like, why are you punching with your pitching hand, Levon?
That's like the Bull Durham scene, right? Did you hit me with your left hand or did you hit me with your right?
Right. Which one did you hit me with?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, speaking of baseball movies, how about James Earl Jones passing away?
Yeah, that was really sad. I mean, I loved him in The Sandlot and a couple other things, and I really not sports related, but I really enjoyed him in Big Bang Theory. That episode he did with, I just thought that was hysterical. But yeah, you have a great guy and a legendary actor. It's a shame that he passed away.
My favorite thing with him actually was the Bell Atlantic commercials. Remember his New Jersey Bell, then Bell Atlantic? He was the voice of those commercials for it felt like ever.
That's true. Yep. Good point. Yeah, good memory there. Yep.
It's like you would be doing a commercial and you would be interested, not because it's the Yellow Pages, because it's James Earl Jones telling you to buy the Yellow Pages.
Yep. Very true.
I mean, that guy's voice was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He was also the voice of Mustafa, I think, in the Lion
Yeah,
King,
he was.
so.
Yeah, very good. Boy, you're a big James Earl Jones fan, huh?
Well, I just it's an iconic voice. You know what I mean? It's like it's Field of Dreams, it's Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. Sandlot, Big Bang Theory, yeah, everything. Yep, he was amazing. He really was.
Oh my goodness, what was the other thing he was in? He was in Coming to America with Eddie Murphy too.
Oh yeah, King Joffrey Joffer.
Yeah. Remember they were dropping the pedals when he came out of the limousine?
Yeah. Ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Long life too. I think it was like 93. So.
Yeah. God bless him. Yeah, he did have a long and health and prosperous life. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be you, Dave. You're gonna live really long too. So.
Boy, I hope so.
Weinberg Wednesdays with Dave Weinberg. Extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com and his 2-minute blitz after every Eagles games also at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, let's let you get back to the trivia over the Gusto Brewing in North Game. I told Zach you come on here every week, and he was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, he came up to me before trivia started, and we were talking a little bit about it. Yeah,
that's funny. Well, tell him I said hello. All right.
I will, definitely.
Dave, take care.
All right. Thanks very much, Josh. I appreciate it as always.
Absolutely. Dave Weinberg joining us here on game night on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, I messaged Zach, the owner of Gusto, last week, and I was like, every time Dave Weinberg's coming on Weinberg Wednesday, he's right outside at trivia night. It's like, what? And that's when he told me, like, oh, wait a minute. So that's the reason why that his team always seems to ace the sports round. I'm telling you guys, if you ever need to win trivia night, I'm your guy. I got more useless information up in my noggin than anybody else that you will ever meet. Like I remember I went to a trivia night one time, and I was actually there not for trivia night. I was there for other reasons. At a local brewery that I'm not going to name because they're not an advertiser or a friend of mine, but they had a trivia night. And I remember that I actually almost won the trivia night by myself, and I wasn't even fully paying attention. I just kept writing down answers, and I kept handing him my sheet and saying, well, I might as well play. I'm sitting here, I'm hanging out. I was actually doing some work remotely that day. I was supposed to be having a day off. As Mike Gill says, is it a cleats day or a sneakers day? And I always seem to have my cleats on, right? So, and I remember I almost won by myself. I think I came like third place, something like that. And so it's like, can you imagine if I had some help? the things I could do if I had some help. All right, back to the text board. Coming up next, Dan and EHT, your text and more at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chickie and Pete's world-famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy a pallet or more of select concrete mix. And there's more. Save up to 25% when you buy a pallet or more of select drywall panels. Plus, get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Meet DJ the Master Penny Pincher. I'm always looking for ways to lower my electric bill. My new smart meter from Atlantic City Electric makes it a lot easier to save energy and money. I took a few minutes, logged into my account, and unlocked some cool tools like high usage alerts and customized energy saving tips I can see right on my phone. I'd say that's a pretty smart move. We couldn't agree more, DJ. To unlock all the energy-saving benefits of your new smart meter, sign up for my account at AtlanticCityElectric.com/smartmove.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
When you switch and save with Progressive, you could use that money towards going to see your favorite team in the playoffs. Progressive cannot guarantee that you can go see your favorite team in the playoffs. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds on average, but we cannot guarantee that your favorite team will make the playoffs or even finish with a winning record. They could easily lose more than half their games and finish in the cellar because they stink badly and haven't made the playoffs in years. Savings? Very possible. Playoffs? Highly doubtful. Switch and see if you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states. We cannot be held liable for your favorite team's terrible and frankly embarrassing performances now or ever.
Rita, hot head. Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak. No.
Floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT, or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Checking back on the text board at 609-403-0973. By the way, Weston Wilson again makes a fielding mistake. I mean, this guy is a disaster at third base. The good news is that the Rays didn't score because of it. It's absolutely insane. All right, back to the text board, 609-403-0973. George in Summers Point says, hey, Josh, it's great listening to you and Dave Weinberg tonight. We would love to have you on a trivia team sometime, but how are you good at music trivia? George, music trivia, I'm hit or miss because I'm really good at the music I know, but when it goes outside of the realm of the genres that I know, like I know Motown, I know the Huff and Gamble Philly sound, I know like classic rock, I know old school R&B, I know certain modern artists, I know post-grunge, I know some alt-rock, but outside of those genres, I gotta admit, I struggle a bit. Like I'm more likely to guess, the opening notes of the Four Tops than I am Deftones, to be honest. I could probably tell you the opening notes of Linkin Park before I can tell you Taylor Swift. So I don't know if I'm the best music trivia guy. I'm more of like it's like a randomizer in my head. 609-403-0973. Jeff from Ocean City says, I'm more convinced every day this is our year. Phillies will be World Series champs and Wheeler will be World Series MVP. Wow, that's a prediction. The only problem, Jeff, in Ocean City is in order for you to be World Series MVP, you got to go and have a monster postseason. Like, I remember when Cole Hamels won the MVP. Like, that dude was like untouchable. That was such an incredible run by him. So I don't know. I kind of feel like you got to be on you got to be like on an unstoppable level to be that guy. I feel like if I was to pick anyone to be World Series MVP, if the Phillies would be Kyle Schwarber, just because of the year he's having. I mean, the dude leads the National League in walks, set the single season record for most leadoff home runs. The guy is having another monster year. I feel like when Schwarber gets hot, him and Turner, it's like when those guys get hot, it's wild. Also on the text for anonymous texter says James Earl Jones also played Admiral Greer in the Jack Ryan movies with Harrison Ford. Good pull. Yeah, really sad James Earl Jones passed away. It's definitely sad. I mean, that guy was like the voice of a lot of our childhoods. Like I said, New Jersey Bell and Bell Atlantic Mobile. You know, when I used to live in Sea Isle, we used to live across the street from what was then the New Jersey Bell, then later the Bell Atlantic, one of their like outposts, like one of their like maintenance centers that like the workers would go and like do like certain work in. Yeah, I in Sea Isle, I used to live across from that. If anybody out there knows Sea Isle who's over the age of 30 years old, you know exactly what building I'm talking about. That was always a funny thing to, walk out of your house, look across the street, like, oh yeah, there's the Bell Atlantic or Verizon building. Dan and EHT chimes in and says, are you concerned with Hurts, Josh? I am. Those interceptions were really bad decisions. Well, two things, Dan and EHT. One, Dan and EHT, you obviously never didn't read my article on 973 ESPN.com. You obviously have not been absorbing what we have been saying the last 2 days here on 97.3 ESPN, because both of Hurts' interceptions came on plays where the Eagles didn't run motion. And I wrote about this 973 ESPN.com. Hurts was so much better when they ran motion versus when they didn't run motion. And it was brutally obvious that Hurts, as long as he's not overthinking, he's really good. He is an incredible player when he is making clear and sound decisions. By the way, Nick Castellanos just hit a 2-run homer. Phillies now lead 2-0. But I think that the reason why I'm not concerned with Hurts and the interceptions is because I think those are correctable. I think anytime a player makes a mistake that is something that they can be correct, when you have a player who makes a mistake and it's something I can obviously point to, be like, if you just fix that, if you just don't do that, you could be better. That's why, for example, I don't hate a Josh Allen, or I don't hate back in the day John Elway, because those guys were, or Brett Favre, those guys were throwing interceptions because they were being too aggressive or because they were doing hero ball. That's something that's correctable. Jeff from Ocean City says, no music trivia for Josh. He's never heard of the Killers. It's not that I never heard of the Killers, but it's that bands like the Killers are those groups that my mind does more of a recall with cover bands than does the actual band that played the music. Like, we all know those songs. There's like 10 songs that come to your head that you've heard played by more cover bands when you're going out to bars and restaurants than you've actually heard the real band who played the original song play. I'm aware that Mr. Brightside is by the Killers. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great everybody.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football.
E-S-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. Brought to you by
GMS Law. Make the...
All right, Josh Hennig on my YouTube channel, at Josh Hennig. Hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. I do try to jump on here from time to time with some post-show thoughts. And today, I did want to take a moment, if you guys could hear me out, wherever you're listening or watching the show. I appreciate you tuning into the YouTube channel. I wanted to say this about 9/11 because today is the anniversary of September 11th, 2001. That was 23 years ago. And the reason why, at Josh Hennig on Twitter X, I retweeted my buddy Brandon Scoopy Robinson's tweet, is because I think something he said was very poignant to me. And that was, after 9/11, it's like people's priorities were recalibrated. People actually treated other people like human beings. And it was amazing to watch how that happened. And I'll never forget it. That was one of the only times in my lifetime that people genuinely put aside their frivolous differences, skin color, economic class, the shoes you wear, the car you drive, the color of your hair, what kind of glasses you wear, just things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And they actually were human to each other. And, after watching or attempting to watch 25 minutes of that thing they call a debate on television last night, it was clearly obvious to me that we live in a world where people don't want discourse. They don't actually care about saying or doing the right thing. People just have agendas, man. And it's a shame because, as my buddy said, today, 23 years ago, for a couple weeks, people were actually good to each other. Today, we live in a world full of angry, resentful, spiteful, unhappy people. And for some of those people, what they're miserable, angry, and upset about is actually their own fault. I got to tell you guys, I don't wish ill upon anyone, but it's really sad that it took a tragedy where thousands of people died in New York City and Washington, D.C., and in that field in Pennsylvania. It's a shame that all those people had to die to get people to wake up. Because people die every day in America and people don't care today. 23 years ago, people were shocked out of the doldrums, out of the malaise that their minds and lives were in. But it's like T.I. said in one of his songs, people die every day, all because of BS. And it's it really is true. We live in a world where people are literally dying left and right. Nobody cares because of politics, religion, economic class. I mean, there are literally people out there. I've observed because of social media, there's a lot of people out there who will not date certain people, not because of, morals or ethics or, their looks no, it's because of their money. There are literally men and women out there who will not even give you the time of day. You could be the best looking person in the world. You have the greatest job, the nicest car. You could have whatever that you think is a status symbol. And if they determine that status symbol is not good enough for them, you're garbage to them. And it's absolutely incredible that that's the world we live in now. And so on 9/11, I just hope people don't just remember what happened on 9/11. Don't just remember the tragedy. Don't just remember the people who died. Remember how people felt about each other. Go back in your mind and remember how different people treat each other. And maybe, just maybe, you can look at the world through a different set of lenses and have a better appreciation for the world we live in. Remember, unless you are in the worst situation as humanly possible, you have something to be grateful for. And I think a lot of people, they do so much complaining and they're so angry and they're so miserable that they can't see the forest for the trees anymore. At Josh Hennig on the Twitter X platform, at Joshua S. Hennig on Instagram. This is my YouTube channel where all of my shows on 97.3 ESPN are streamed. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Leave a comment. I'll catch you next time right here on my YouTube channel as well as on 97.3 ESPN FM.